Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for February, what day are we on? 11th, I think, 2024. So, this was a great reading week in the way as of how many pages and how many books I got through. I got through 10 things this week, but I have to say it mostly... a lot of it was audio because at work I did a lot of stuff at work, but I was able to listen to audiobooks during that, and I did a lot of rereads, and my reading is all over the place. So I am just not sure how this next week is going to go. I had all these grandiose plans of what I was going to do for this week, and I have a plan for the next weekend. I'm hoping to do a kind of a project, but we'll see. Right now, I can't say that I will do it because I spent 3.5 hours on the couch last night. I just could not pick up a book. Like, I finished something, which I'm glad I finished, but then I was like, I can't pick up the books that are sitting like anywhere near me. I kept looking at all my books. I kept thinking about the books I'm in the middle of that I want to get back to. Nothing would hit. I had to go pick up another reread. So I think this is just going to be how it is for so far in February, is going to just continue on. I am intermixing new books with my rereads right now. So at least I'm a little better than at the end of January where everything was a reread. So I do like that, but I have to go with my mood, and just stress is really kicking in. Yesterday I got a quote about the fence. Remember, part of our fence fell down. So we got a quote for the fence, and of course it's like over $7,000 to do everything we want to do. And I'm like, and then I have the insurance adjuster coming on Tuesday, but I can't get one of the cleanup crews to call me back to get an appointment to start taking out all the water damage stuff out of the garage. So I'm just stressed out. And I think that's just it. When I get to that way, I don't like to read new books that require me to remember them, like in series and stuff. I don't want to read those because I know I'm going to read on in the series, hopefully, and I won't remember any details because my brain right now is just mush. So I think I'm just going to go with so it's just going to be mood reading. I have books that I'll show you that I do want to read. I just don't know if I'm ever going to pick them up this month. It might just be everything gets pushed out until the stress is, I thought I was alleviating. Let's just put it that way. I thought I was starting to get things in a row, but now, money-wise and things are starting to add up, and my brain is just, I'm not doing so hot. Anyway, good thing is I bought one book, and then I've had some of my pre-orders come in. So right now my spending on books has been pretty good. If I could just keep that curtailed, we'll see how this goes. So anyway, so let's talk about, I did want to just mention real quickly that I did buy some odd-shaped Archer and Olive notebooks. Why did I do this? They had a sale because they're moving warehouses or something, and I do have an order in for a notebook that they did pre-orders for that are coming in like April or May, so I don't even have that one yet. But I bought these. Why did I buy more notebooks? I have so many notebooks, and I bought a notebook therapy one, an A5. Sorry, Cooper was gonna start playing with the door. But I don't know why I bought these. So this is like a little. They're both dot grid ones, but this one has a little kitty cat one on it. I think you can see it. But anyway, but this is like the traveler's notebook size, which I have that size of notebook, but I just don't use that size much anymore. And then I bought a little one because they were half off, and I don't know why I did that. So anyway, stationery haul. Anyway, that was I don't know why. I'm still having a lot of fun with my journals and stuff. I'm hoping to do a video, I think at the quarter mark, I'm going to do where I show how my reading journal is going and what I'm doing for my book reviews journal, because I hadn't started that. I don't think anybody's seen that. So, but not yet. I'm not ready. It's in progress. Or, again, you saw my original, but I meant we're working on it. I'm trying to keep up with some kind of artsy thing, or trying something to do something else, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So anyway, let's talk about the books that I read, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next day or two, but not really what I'm going to read in the next week, because I have not a clue. So I did finish on Sunday Tiger Magic, my reread of book 5 in the Shifters Unbound series. So again, this is a series that I read when they were coming out. I think I did read this in 2013. Yeah. 2013. So I read this one, and then I read a little bit beyond this. So this one is book 5. This is an paranormal romance series where shifters 20 years ago were exposed, and they were put into shifter towns. So in different parts of the country, there are towns. There are, like this one, a lot of the books takes place in Austin or Vegas, and I think the next book, one of the books later, will be in somewhere in North Carolina. But they have like a town. Do you have to do that? I'm busy. Anyway, so like they are put into these shifter towns, and then they are, you know, they're kind of second class citizens kind of thing, and they're controlled by these collars that are put on them. And we've met Tiger, who has come around as a shifter differently than the rest of them. He is very different, and he just does not understand the whole he's lived in captivity for many years, and so he's just been out, and he's not adjusting super well. And then he meets Carly, who has a really bad day where the car she borrowed from her boyfriend breaks down. He helps her get the car started, and then she drives him back to her boyfriend's house to switch out to her older car. She had taken his car because she was going to for this gallery opening thing, and she gets there and finds out her boyfriend's cheating on her, and it just explodes from there. And again, we have the romance elements of this one, and then there's a lot of machinations within the story of things going on from the other books. So this is not a book you can just pick up again in the middle of the series, but I really this is a book where I think I liked it better the first time I read it, because I was reading the I don't know, I guess because I'd read the series, I was enjoying this series more at that time. I don't know how to say that. I think this was fine. I just think it kind of got a little muddled in the middle here. But by the end, I really liked the way it all came around. I really love the ending. The ending definitely saves it, you know, and makes me want to, propelled me to read more into the series. Again, as I said, I have a few more books I have to reread in order to get to the new books, and there's quite a few books that I've never read. I then continued. All right, I started Bitten by Kelly Armstrong. No, I started the audiobook, I think, last week. Anyway, so I started this. This one was done by Aisne, oh, I don't know how to say her name. Vignessa or something? Vigessa. Anyway, so this is an audiobook. I did the audiobook from the library. And Bitten is the first book in the Women of the Otherworld by Kelly Armstrong, which is a series that I read, well, before way before Goodreads was counting. I forgot to go check to see when I did actually read this. This book came out in 2004. I think I read it a couple years later than that, but I'm not positive. But I know I bought this by either somebody else had bought it by special order, or I bought it by special order. I can't remember now. I just remember, I'm pretty sure I bought this from Borders, but I'm not positive. Not completely sure. Anyway, but point is that this is an urban fantasy, and this is a weird series because it changes protagonists. It's first person through, I think, most of the books. I'm not, at least the first couple books, but the protagonist changed. So the first two books are Elena. So the first book here, again, let's just talk about this. And she is a maid werewolf. She was bitten by someone she trusted, and so she has disconnected herself from the pack at this point, and she is trying to live in Toronto and make her living as a journalist. And she has a boyfriend who lives with her, and you know, she's trying to hold down the semblance of being human, you know, when she's been changed. And so her boyfriend thinks she's kind of odd that she wants to go out in the middle of the night and run, but again, she has to go change every once in a while. And then she is called home because of something that is happening in the town where the pack stays, which is in New York State somewhere. And that just kind of escalates everything with showing her her life, how things in the pack are different, that lifestyle compared to her life in Toronto and stuff. So, and then it's, again, she has, again, the ex-boyfriend in the picture that's there, and the pack members that she does know, because she is the only female. Again, I really love this the first time I read it. I really enjoyed it on the reread. Well, I tried to reread this a couple of years ago, and I just got partway through and I lost momentum. I probably just wasn't in a mood to be reading. So I'm glad I did this, because this is a series where I've read 3 of the novels and never completed. So my goal is to read the 3 novels this year and start reading some of the newer ones. So I read book 1, really enjoyed it again. I think this is a good classic urban fantasy. Again, the one trope I hate is the ex-boyfriend love interest kind of thing. I hate second chance romances. There's only like 2 or 3 that I really, really like in my whole life. And so that always is a problem for me. I do like the relationship in here. It really is complicated and stuff. Not in a dramatic way, but I mean, it's complicated. There's stuff going on. So I do like the characters. It's just, I'm just not a second chance romance. And at this time period, with probably the 4 or 5 years in which this book and a couple of the books, a couple other good, really long urban fantasy series started, all of them had that ex-boyfriend trope and that second chance romance with somebody in their past. And I hated all the beginning books, because that just drove me crazy. I just don't like that trope. I can get into the story as long as we get past that, but oh man, all of them had that ex-boyfriend thing in it, and I hated that. Anyway, I reread that. And then did I finish? Which one did I finish first? Well, we'll just do this one since I picked it up. Well, we'll do, I went on to read Feral Heat, which is book 5.5 in the Shifters Unbound series. So this one is following one of the characters from another book's his son, and his love story with one of the sisters of the character who was the one I read, Lone Wolf, which I read last week. So they got together. It was it pushes the story forward. The novellas are really interesting because they push a different like a long arching plot than the main novels. So you don't have to read all the novellas if you are if you really don't want to, but it just adds so much to the world with the way her novellas are all linked and all the novels, are linked. But I like because you do see what happens in the novellas in the novels, but you don't get much of the background. You don't quite understand all the nuances. But I do think I would still say you should read them all. I just meant you just look at the novellas, and a lot of them are linked together with the plot lines and side characters and things. Anyway, so I did enjoy that one. Again, it was just short, and it was a fun paranormal romance, to get done pretty quickly, because I didn't have, it was like 140 some pages. So again, the novellas aren't super long. Then a library book came in on Libby to listen to, was The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. So I've been putting this off. I just hadn't got around to it, and I finally asked for it, and then it popped up this week. So it's Overcoming in Uncertain Times. So this was really interesting as a continuation of her becoming, because that was her life story up through the presidency with her husband, and then that's where it kind of ends, and that's when that book came out. This talks a lot about just surviving, how the years have been since she got out. They got, the whole election went, and how they how the pandemic and everything. So this is very much a pandemic book, just in case you don't want to read anything about that. She does talk about a lot of things that dealt with that, because it is something that we all dealt with a couple of years after she got out of the White House. And I think she has a very positive attitude. I loved listening to it because it's her voice. She narrated just as she did Becoming. She does a really great job. I think she shows a lot of empathy to a lot of people she talks about in here, and their stories that she talks about. I think it was just a good overall feel good kind of book. I don't think I got, earth-shattering things in here. I think I have to say that I envy her in the way that she has a lot of really great friends, and I think that is something that I think is just like, it's just, I would love to have that many friends that she has, and have that kind of connection with them. So, but other than that, I think this was really good. I'm glad I finally got to it. It wasn't something I meant to put off. I just kept forgetting to reserve it at my library, and then finally I remembered. I don't know if I saw somebody else talk about, I don't know what happened. I just remember asking for it for the library, and I got it the next week. So, I'm just glad I got to that. Let's see here. Was there anything else on here? No. Anyway, so, I did listen to that. And again, I said I listened to a lot of audiobooks at work, because the next one I listened to was Tricked by Ken Hearn. So I mostly have physically read this, but this week was an audiobook week. I barely read The Shifters Unbound. I read those physically, but I think pretty much everything else except for one more book. Yeah, one more book everything was audio. I could not focus enough to hold a book and stuff. So it was better to listen, and I did a lot of it at work, and then at home I restarted, as I said, I told you I restarted my Animal Crossing Island, so I listened and played that as well. So anyway, Tricked, this is the fourth book was narrated by Luke Daniels. I think he did a great job. I might continue some of the books with the audiobooks. It just matters how I feel. I still think they're really good just to read them too. So I think I'll depend on my mood. This one I was a little concerned about because it was called Tricked. And I knew that Coyote was involved, but it worked out. It was kind of interesting. This was a weird one because this is after the first 3 books, which is a good, like, first section of the series, I think. And then this is like continuing on in kind of the aftermath of what happened there with things that he and his apprentice and Oberon, the wolfhound, and their adventures. They go to help Coyote because Coyote's done something. So there's been a deal made, but Coyote, of course, left out some of the details, as in there are skinwalkers that are a problem. And there's also hell that shows up, which surprises Atticus. And then there's a whole thing with some of the vampires that have come to the state. And it's very interesting. As I said, this is very mythology, but it also has all these urban fantasy feelings because he is a druid. And I think it's a great combo of making the supernatural world just so alive. And it's scary. There was a lot of action and a lot of things that happened. I think it was really weird because this book also kind of went in parts. Like the first part was very much focused on kind of the aftermath from the first 3 books, and then Coyote's section, and then there's this middle section where something else happens. And it was surprising that we went with all that stuff. And then the third section is kind of bring it all back together to finish out the first section. It was an odd book, but I did enjoy it. So I definitely will be continuing on. I have 2 novellas to read, or 2 short stories. I think they're novellas. They're like 60 some pages each. I think I have 2 of those to read, which I hope to do in the next week or 2 so that I can continue on to book 5, which is Trapped. But I want to read the 2 novellas first. So I don't remember the names, but I have them on. They're on my Kindle ready to go. Anyway, and then I also during this whole week had my buddy read with Bernard. Bernard's Bookish Adventures. We did All I Want for Christmas is a Vampire by Sherilyn Sparks. So this is book 5 in the Love at Stake series. So we are making our way through this series. This was a really fun one because Ian is a vampire who for centuries was trapped in the body of a 15-year-old, and he gets his love story after certain things happened in the previous book, and he is now out on the dirt, out to find his true love. And then there's Tony, who is someone who is a human who has just realized that vampires exist. She's trying to save her friend Sabrina, who is being thought crazy because she said she was attacked by vampires. And so she's working with one of her neighbors to kind of figure out what's going on. Their love story was really cute. I really liked that. It's, again, moving the plot forward on a lot of stuff from the other books. And again, this is one of those series where the couple is, as long as I like the couple, it usually goes pretty well. I like these books just enough. But it's the side characters that make these books, because that's where it's funny. These people, you're just they're just funny. Like, not crazy, that's a whole nother writer that I'm thinking of, but this is more funny. Like, they just crack you up. They're like very realistic in what people would say or do, and kind of goof up and mess up. And again, we have all the vampires and stuff and other things that are popping up in this world. So I'm really excited that we got through this one. Again, it's not like the best thing ever, but it's just fun. And I think this was the best week for this because I had such trouble with reading. I did get the audiobook from my library. Again, I own those physical, but I just could not read physically this week very much. And so that was done by Colleen Marlowe, which I thought was okay. It wasn't, it was fine. I mean, I got through it. I might read more of these by audio if I need to, but this is definitely books I have physically, so this will probably be another one where if I feel like it, I will. If I don't, it just matters on my reading. But I did enjoy that, and Berna and I will continue on to the next book, hopefully next month. Then I got from the library the audiobook for Stolen by Kelly Armstrong. This is book 2 in the Women of the Other World. So this one, again, I read back in early 2000s. I don't remember what year I actually read it in. I keep thinking like 2007 or so. This came out also in 2004. So I don't remember when I read it. I have to look back at my notes. Anyway, point is, this one, again, is following Elena, the werewolf, and something happens where she is, that somebody is out capturing supernatural creatures. And this is definitely, I really enjoyed this book on this reread. Maybe not as much as I did the first time. Again, it's one of those things where I gave it a high rating the first time around. This one, I'm like, it was still good. It's still a solid book. Again, I don't think Kelly Armstrong is like my favorite urban fantasy like writer, but she has a lot of great ideas, and it definitely goes in directions I don't expect it to. So I really enjoyed this one. Again, this is one of the ones I had read before, so I reread it on audio. This one was done by Nell Canning, and this is actually an audiobook I did not like. Her voices for Elena especially, I didn't like what she did. And, you know, it was of all the audiobooks this week, this was the one that I had the most trouble, like connecting to. I just thought it was like, that wasn't very fun. I forgot my bookmark was in there. Anyway, but anyway, it was fine. The book was great though. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to read the next one, Dime Store Magic, fairly soon. Reread that one because that's the last one that I had read previously. I think that's, I don't know why I stopped there, because book 3 I remember being really good because it changes to characters who are witches, and we're following Paige, and I remember really enjoying that one, and I don't know why I didn't read book 4. So I can't remember. So I guess we're going to see, but I'm going to reread book 3. If it turns out that's I DNF or I stop the series there for a reason, I will then unload all these books, because again, I really enjoyed these books, but again, I'm not going to reread the series again if I'm never going to finish it. So we're going to try. There is 13 books in the series, so I don't plan to finish it this year. But I do plan to at least read Dime Store Magic and at least read 1 or 2 past that this year in order to get deeper into the series. So we're going to work on that. Then I did read a library book, which is Let Me Tell You What I Mean by Joe Dinian. So this one is a book of 12 essays by Joe Dinian that was just put together, I don't know, last year. I don't know, it wasn't very long ago that this was put together. I can't remember. 2021. So I had been talking to my hairdresser about books and stuff, and he is much more into essays and stuff. And so he was like, oh, have you read Joan Didion? And I said, well, I've read A Year of Magical Thinking, I think is what's called, that memoir. And he's like, well, yeah, you need to read some of her essays. And then I got assigned for a writing thing I'm doing online for this month and last month and the next month a little bit. I've been doing a writing thing, and one of the things they sent out was a essay about writing in notebooks by Joan Didion. And so I read that and was really kind of intrigued. So I went to the library and I had picked up this collection just to try. It was the only one there. I would have picked up one of her more famous collections if they'd been there, but they weren't. But this was there. So I did read these. And again, I didn't, like some of them, she writes really interesting. She is a very interesting writer. And I know she's not for everybody. And I don't know, like essays have never been something I've been into. But I did enjoy several of them. There was 4 that I really would say I enjoyed. I really loved Last Words, which was the one on Hemingway. I think it was just because it was fascinating, the things that she picked out about his life and about his writing in that one. I think that was really interesting, her like kind of talking about Hemingway and his writing and what he wanted done with his works after he was gone. And it was really interesting, his reasoning for certain things. It made me want to pick up a Hemingway biography. So if you know any of them, let me know, because Ernest Hemingway is one of those people where I like some of the books I've read and I've hated some of the other ones. And but I find him fascinating overall. And I just haven't read, I've read his memoir, A Movable Feast, which was fantastic. And questionable choices on his point, but on his side, but it was interesting. So if you know of a Ernest Hemingway biography that's really good, let me know. Anyway, that was my favorite of them. But then she had 2 of them that were kind of her young self. One was written in 68, which is half this collection was from 1968. So it was really interesting to see these short essays from that time period, and you had to kind of take in context some of the differences in what was expected of women and things like that. And I thought this was really interesting. It was one about when she didn't get into the college that she wanted to get into, her first choice. And again, she went on to a good college to another one, but she didn't get her first choice. And it was her talking about that that sadness of losing out on that. I thought that was a really good one. I also liked her one about being in college in her first, like a writing class where you're supposed to write so many short stories within this. And she only wrote a few because she just got paralysis from being put in front of people to read books or to write short stories by a certain time frame. And I thought that was a really good one too. So again, the college one was called On Being Unchosen by the College of One's Choice. And then when Telling Stories was the one about her college writing. So I thought that was, and talking about publishing and stuff. It was really interesting. I thought it was a good one. And the only other one that I would say that was really fascinating was there's a short one called Pretty Nancy, which is on Nancy Reagan in the 60s and how Joan Didion had gone to interview her for something. And there's also a camera crew there to take photos and take video. And it was kind of an interesting look at Nancy Reagan back then. Again, I only remember her from the 80s because of my age. But it still was kind of interesting to see it was her acknowledging that Nancy looked at things a little differently and that was just a little off. But it was good and it was bad, kind of her what she showed of Nancy Reagan. It was kind of interesting because again, at that time, Nancy Reagan was Ronald Reagan was the governor of California at that time. So it was really interesting. It was fascinating. I think that's about all I could say on that one. So anyway, I'm going to be taking this back to the library, but I'm glad I did it. It does make me want to go and read, I think it's Blue Nights is the other memoir that I have of hers on my shelf. So I might pick up that sometime this year. I don't know if I'll pick up another collection of essays. I'm just not into them. And again, she writes them kind of bizarrely. And I guess it's just, you have to be in the mood for them. Anyway, and it took me 3 nights. I read like a quarter of it a third of it every night just to try to get through it. But I'm glad I did it. Again, it's not anything, I don't think it was perfect or anything, but I'm glad I did look at that. Okay, so here I'm just talking too much. Anyway, I did also go back and read White Sand Volume 2 and Volume 3 from Brandon Sanderson. So these are graphic novels that I read off of KU while I still have it. I have it for another week or two. And I feel really guilty about having KU and not reading those books, but I'm also like trying to read books that I own, but then again, I'm rereading right now. So anyway, but I did read these 2. These are part of the 3 graphic novel series that I said I had to get done before I lost KU because I don't want to pay for them if I don't have to. I could have got it from the library, the full collection, but it might take me a while to get it. Anyway, so this is like a sand, it's it's a world where the world doesn't like rotate. There's the day side and the night side, and the day side, the sun is always up, and the night side, the night's always dark over there. And there are these sand masters who can use sand, with their magic and stuff. And it's the story's all probably his name went right out of my head. Is it Keaton or Kean? Anyway, he something happens to a lot of them. So they were betrayed, and a lot of the Sandmasters died. And then when he gets back to the place where the government is, they are ready to get rid of them because they have failed, whatever. And so he spends these 3 volumes trying to bring everybody kind of, to try to convince all of the people in the government or the ones who are in charge, who have the vote, to allow them to continue their order. And he has many people who are out to kill him. There are other groups who are there for different reasons, like a group from the night side who is there trying to look for somebody or figure out what that person was looking for when they disappeared. And it was a really great story overall. I think I would rather have had it written as a story. I think we would have got more in depth. There was a weird transition in some of the drawings from the end of volume 2 into volume 3. It went from very stylized, very a lot of pencil mark, like a lot of lines in their faces, to very bland in the last portion. I didn't really like the change in art style, just because I was so used to it from the other. It was weird to switch. But I'm glad I read this. It wasn't great. I think they were all about 2.5. It wasn't like they were perfect. I'm just glad I read them to be reading in the Cosmere. I don't know how they're all connected. It's just another planet and a different thing, but it was interesting, and I see, I'm glad I did it. I don't think this is something I'll revisit at any time unless there's some detail that'll come back later and I'll want to. But really, it was more of a check mark off of the stuff in the Cosmere that I'm trying to get to, since I'm having trouble with other things. But it was easy yesterday to pick up those 2 graphic novels online, or on KU, and get those done. So anyway, so those are all the things I finished. So really, page timer wise, it was huge. I have there's a lot of pages I got through, a lot of rereads as well. So, we can't always be so to that. I did start From Below by Darcy Coates on Friday. I was trying to get done enough to do Allison on a Book Break does the start and stop book club kind of thing that she does once a month. This month's read is the first one I've had a chance to participate in, but I didn't get to the end. I still have 12 pages. No, what did I say? No, I think it was 16 pages I have to read before I get to watch her video that she put up yesterday. So I will do that, and then try to get and then try to get to the next section before her next video, I think on Monday. This was, I have this on audio as well. I bought it on some Audible sale. So, and I did just get this book. I don't know. I think I might have forgot that I had the audio until after I bought it, but bought this at the Pals book sale the other week. Abby Craden does the audio. It's fine. So this is an underwater horror novel. So we're following a crew who has gone to the shipwreck in the North Atlantic, I believe. And no one knows why the ship went down. There was some weird, signals. We're getting the past and the present, different times in the past. And then the present is the crew as they go on their first dive. So this book is not my favorite so far of hers. It is have the spooky element. I'm not much for underwater. I'm not a big swimmer. I can swim. I just don't like water. I was very fear of drowning when I was a kid because of a couple instances where I felt like I almost drowned, twice in 1 week. So have some trouble with that. But this one really kind of reminds me of Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant in some of its setup, but I'm guessing it's going to be different. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. My problem right off is that one of the characters is lying about something so stupid that I'm like, why are you doing that? like you're going to be the first one killed off. I can already tell, you know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I did listen to this at the end of the day on Friday, so I just haven't come back to it because I haven't listened to any audiobooks since I left work. But I hope on Monday I will pick this up and get back into it. I mean, maybe today I'll read the last, as I said, 16 pages, and then be able to watch her video and then find out where the next places where we're supposed to stop the next time, and then read up till there. So we'll see what happens. As I said, we're gonna try that. I'm going to try it this time around. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I am reading that. So I'm not loving it so far. Again, I love Darcy Coates' haunted house ones. Those are like my favorite of hers. This one I'm just not sure about yet. And again, it could just be the water thing, but I've been really wanting to read this because I did like Into the Drowning Deep. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm working on that. And then the other book, the book I picked up last night as a reread, just because my brain was so fried. And I said, I spent like 3.5 hours just staring at the books going, I should pick one of those up. And I just couldn't do it. I picked up one book for like 3 sentences and then I put it back down. I just could not pick up my new book. So I went back and I started rereading The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I don't know why. It was either this one or Sarah Adams. I actually had a couple of those that I could have picked up as well. It was just a flip of the coin. I decided to I picked one and I just started reading it. So I read about 94 pages last night. I mean, right before bed. And again, it's just a reread. I read it last year. And it was just a surprise one that I really enjoyed because the first time I read it, I stopped in the middle of it. But I think it was because I was worried about the main character and what was coming. But again, this is a fake dating one where a grad student kisses a professor to try to convince her best friend that she is over her last boyfriend she had, so that her best friend will date him, and then she gets caught up in this fake dating with the professor that everybody hates. I really enjoy this. I think this is just a fun ride, and I'm just gonna enjoy my reread just because it's just what I feel like reading. So I will be rereading this today. Of the books that I've started that I'd like to get back to, again, I would love to get back to The Way of Kings. I'm still only 400 pages into that one, so I still have the whole other book and then 200 pages here. I want to get back to A Court of Mist and Fury, and I really hoped yesterday would have been the day, but after we got the fence pricing and everything, my brain went like, nope, I don't feel like that, and that's why I read White Sand. Because it was easier and, visually. So I will come back to this. It's not yet. We're not ready to go back to that. I also would like to get back to the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels because I did enjoy the first 40 pages, and that one day I read it and then I haven't picked it up since. So I still want to read this. But I couldn't pick it up, so we're not going to worry about that. What I do think I might read after The Love Hypothesis, if I don't pick up a Sarah Adams, because I might pick up another Sarah Adams and reread that book, because I'm kind of thinking I might reread When in Rome or one of the, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I feel like. But I might pick up to reread Breaking Badger, which is book 4 in the Honey Badger Chronicles, so that I can read the new book, book number 5, Born to be Badger. The first 3 books are following some sisters, so they each have their book, and this is just mania. These are these are paranormal romances with shifters in New York, I think just in New York City and stuff, and the first 3 are just are just crazy. The Honey Badgers are a different kind of they're those kind of shifters and they're just bullheaded. Oh, they're just hilarious. Anyway, this is following so the 3 books are the sisters, and then these 2 books follow friends of one of the sisters in that one. I'm pretty sure both of these are, so they have one of the girls was in a basketball team and as a young person, and they all were all shifters, and so they all are really, really close, and they're all crazy when they get together, but we're getting their books, and so I'm really excited because I really liked the first one. And then I don't know what this one, and I can't see, I want to remember, I can't remember the love interest, the guy in this one. So I want to reread this one to get back into it and get reacquainted with all the, I don't want to read all four all 4 novels I'd already read. I don't want to reread all of them. I'm just going to reread the one before this because this one's more connected to this one because, again, these are the teammates. Anyway, usually someone's out to hurt someone or steal someone or kill someone, and then they just go on a rampage to save the person or to destroy the person. These are over-the-top, crazy or paranormal romance, urban fantasies, and I just love Shelley Lawrence. She's one of my favorite authors. And again, I just got this book a couple months ago and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So I do want to reread this book. So I'm pretty sure this is what I'm going to do after The Love Hypothesis, but we will see. I could change my mind and read something else. I have no idea. My reading is just all over the place. So anyway, that is my update. Sorry that was really long, but I knew it was 10 things. I had gotten through a lot this week. Again, a lot were rereads, but you know what? I'm not gonna, it's just the way it is. My brain, this is what's happening, and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I can't make myself read stuff. Again, buddy reads like the ones I've had with Berna and with Tia are really easy because those are series I want to read. So those aren't too bad. And they're all pretty short book. They're not super, super long books or anything. I think I'm just, the pressure of me trying to read these bigger books that I really want to read. I want to get into those stories, but I don't have the mental capacity to let myself get sucked into those worlds right now. And it really hurts because I want to read them, but I just can't. So we'll just go with what we can do. I didn't pull it, but I also got from the library Abaddon's Gate by James S.A. Corey. So I might pick up book 3 in the Expanse series. That's on my Book of Shame. Carts of Shame, sorry. And that's a book I might have to restart, but it is something that could also happen audiobook wise this next week. So I don't know what I'm going to read. I have, I have so many audiobooks, either from Libby or from my own Audible library that I definitely have plenty of things I could listen to. So I don't know what I'm going to do listening wise. But that is an option. I forgot to bring that over here, but anyway. So this is Cooper, who is just being a dork. Anyway, but he's here. And that's it. I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm not sure I'm going to get another video out this week just because of everything going on. I can't think right now if there's going to be anything else. Again, I'm hoping to do kind of a project over the next weekend for a vlog. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. It just depends on how this week goes. I don't know. Valentine's Day is not my favorite holiday. It is actually probably my least favorite. Just due to things that happened in my past. Nothing recent at all. I just don't care. But I might read, I just said, I have a lot of romance books I was hoping to read this next week, but my brain just last night would not let me start any of them. And it was really kind of upsetting. So I might just be rereading books that have romance in them through this week, but we'll see what happens. Again, these ones have romance and sexy times in them. So I might do that. And again, I have many, many others I could pull that I've read before or that are in series that I want to continue. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. So anyway, Cooper and I will see you guys later. Let me know if your reading has been going pretty well this week or this last week. Hopefully it's better than mine and you're not as stressed out as I am. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.